Over 30 years in this business, I've sold over $500 million worth of real estate. Along the way, I've learned a few lessons. Today, I want to share with you the 11 lessons I learned that I know can help your business go to the next level. I don't know about you, but sometimes the lessons I learn are not always the easiest things that I go through, but I learn from them and I understand that sometimes going through those and learning those lessons is the best thing I can do. Now listen, I'm going to go through these. Some of these may be a little counter intuitive to what you would usually think. And I'm going to start with this. Is number one is that the client is not always right. We always hear that the client is always right. That is absolutely one of the most false statements I've ever heard in my entire life. When I first came into this business, I was trying to please everybody. And what I eventually understood is that first off, if you're trying to please everybody, you're not going to please anybody. The second thing is that there are certain people that I am absolutely in tune with that are my ideal clients. And then there are people that absolutely, it is like trying to drive a square peg into a round hole. We just don't think the same way. We don't have the same priorities. And every single time I've worked with those people, it's been a calamity. So understand this. Be willing to say or fire existing clients you have. One of the biggest lessons that I learned along the way is that if I stopped spending all this time trying to make something work that just ultimately was going to be difficult, and I would focus in on the people that I knew that I could add value to, that would appreciate the value that I added, and that would be people that would send me referrals later on, then not only would the time be better that I was spending with them then, it would be more profitable in the long run with multiple transactions with those clients and also with the referrals they would send. Don't be afraid to fire someone. When you have the guts to stand up and say, hey, listen, this is just not how I work. Let me refer you to someone else, or I'm just not comfortable and I'd rather disappoint you now than later, and fire that client and move to the ones that you're doing. The client is not always right. Ultimately, your gut is what's always right. If you're feeling like this is someone that you shouldn't be working with, trust your instinct. Move on to someone that you know is good for your business. The second lesson I've learned is that there are no losses in this business. There are only lessons to be learned. Now, I will say this. It's almost like when I first got started. It was like this business, and I see this every single time that people start in the business. It's almost like this business goes and says, oh, you're serious about being in this business? Let me let one of your good friends list with someone else. And then it's boom, it's that gut punch. What I learned through that lesson is that, hey, wait, you know what? I can't take anything for granted. I have to make sure that I add more value. I can't just expect people to give me business or feel that I'm entitled to it. I need to earn it from every single person I'm around. Or maybe you sat in an open house and you've had someone walk in and you begin to talk to them and they say, hey, you say, hey, listen, there's another house, and you end up going and showing them houses and you feel like you've got this great client, but you never ask them if they were working with another agent, and all of a sudden the next day when you call them, they say, hey, listen, thanks for showing us that house. We just called our agent and they're going to be writing that offer up for us. Boom, it's a gut punch. But the lesson learned is that I will never ask anyone or show anyone else property again before I have some type of commitment or an understanding that they're willing to work with me exclusively. You see, there aren't these losses. Losses hurt. But what losses do is the deeper the pain, what I found is the better the long-term gain, because the more it hurts in the short run, the more likely I am to not let that ever happen again. This business will test you. This business will try you, but ultimately this business is refining you in a way to make you a better agent and to give you the business of your dreams. Third lesson I learned early in the business was that most people won't support you until you don't need them. Now, listen, there are some of these friends that we have that are going to support us. They're our ride and dies. They're going to be with us no matter what. But there is a group of people that we just assume that just because they like what we post on social media, they're going to support our business. We just assume that they're going to give us their business. But in reality, what I found is that most people will watch and see what we do and will not jump on and support us until there's a bandwagon that's pulling through in front of their front yard. What is it that you're doing to understand this? Again, the lesson in this is that you need to absolutely not take anyone's business for granted, and you need to earn business rather than expecting it or feeling entitled. So how do you do that? You can go out and you can produce more content. You can go out there and you can provide more value. Share your testimonials. What the testimonials do is it gives the proof that you're doing the business in the right way, and it gets some of those people that may be on the fence, that are maybe waiting to see if they would support you, or that maybe are not going to support you until they see some success. It gives them the understanding that you're out there doing this thing the right way, and absolutely that's going to draw a larger crowd for you to be able to work with and to ultimately grow your business with. All right, number 3, those were a little bit negative. So I want to get back to some more positive things. Number 4 is this: your business can only grow as much as you are personally growing. I've found that ultimately, if my business is going to grow, it is a very, very direct result of me personally growing. So what is it that you're doing to grow yourself? What are you doing physically to be in better shape than you've ever been in? What are you doing mentally to be sharper than you've ever been? What are you doing as far as knowledge that you're gaining? Are you investing in some coaching? Are you investing in going to conferences? Are you watching or listening to podcasts like this or videos like this that give you an opportunity to support your clients in a better way? Ultimately, if your business is going to grow, it's going to start with you growing personally. 5th lesson I learned was that my vibe attracted my tribe. So the people that I'm attracting to me were the very people that were attracted because of what I was doing out there in the open market. So are you a person that seems to be just attracting a bunch of negative people right now? Check yourself a little bit. Are you being negative? Are you attracting people that are excited about real estate? It's probably a direct result because you're excited about real estate. And it's a direct result of the vibe that you're putting out. Ultimately, also, is your business growing quickly? A lot of times it's because the more vibes I put out in the form of more content, more videos, more releases, more direct mail, whatever I was doing, the more of this that I put out into there, the more that it came back. Ultimately, your vibe will attract your tribe. Make sure that you're putting the vibrations out there that attract the right people. Number 6 is that you're playing too small. The lesson I learned was that every single time that I've got to a level where I felt comfortable with my business was going to be declining very quickly because I was comfortable. What is it that you're doing to understand that there is more to this business? Do you realize that this business has unlimited upside potential? It is literally a direct result of the amount of value that you add into the marketplace, and the number of people that you help is a direct result of how much you can make. Listen, when I've had times where I've grown, where I've seen my business grow exponentially, it's because I got around other people that helped me widen my view of what was possible. This was through coaches. This was through mentors. This was through spending time watching videos of people that understood and had done more business than I had done. You see, ultimately, there is more out there for you. The question is not whether it will work. It's whether you're willing to do the work to get to that next level. Think bigger. There is more out there for you. When you begin to think bigger, obviously it expands what your opportunities are and your business grows as well. The next lesson I learned is attention is everything. People's attention is finite. What we're seeing right now is we're really seeing a shift into the attention economy. People are scrolling, they're doing things, they have so much coming at them, and the ability to have their attention, where you're adding value in a way that you have their attention, that leads to the opportunity for you to have influence. Influence ultimately leads to the opportunity for you to increase your affluence. So what is it that you're doing to make sure that you're capturing as much of other people's attention as possible? Again, this comes down to content creation. This comes down to being out there and being a part of the community where you see people that are in your community. They see you actively out there working. What is it that you're doing to capture the attention? I go back and I think about this. I heard someone say it this way. They said, you know, the true people that made the most money in the last economy were those that were basically on fuel. It was based on oil. You had Standard Oil, you had steel, you had these finite type of things that were out there. What we're seeing right now is that we're in the attention economy. We're at a place where the person who can capture and maintain people's attention the most right now, those are the people that are going to have the opportunity to really see businesses that grow dramatically. That is especially true in real estate. What is it you're doing to educate and entertain those people that are your ideal clients and the market as a whole that will then refer people to you? You see, when you capture their attention, I'll promise you're going to capture more business. The 8th lesson I learned is that relationships trump everything. Listen, if you have a closing and you have someone that it's been a great transaction and it comes up where there is something like a washer and dryer that are not going to be there and it's $500 to $1,000 to make them happy, make them happy. What is it that you can do to build relationships? Realize the times when the difficulty comes in those type of transactions, that's the time when you can drive roots deep in those relationships that'll bear fruit later. In reality, the person with the deepest and most relationships is going to be the top agent in your community. So what is it that you're doing to focus on those relationships? When you focus on the relationships, everything else will take care of itself. itself. Ninth lesson I learned is that every business has seasons. Understanding where you are in those seasons is the opportunity that you have to set yourself apart from other people. So what are those seasons? Number one is the startup portion. This is when you're working harder than you've ever worked. You're trying all kinds of things. You've got a lot of obstacles and you've got to extend a lot of energy to get past that first startup phase. A lot of people don't make it past the startup phase. That's why we see so many people fail in this business is they don't understand that it's going to be harder than you think. It's going to be something you're going to have to do more than you think, but ultimately it's going to be worth it, because that leads us into the second phase, which is the phase of growth. Now, during the phase of growth, we've got a little bit of experience. We've tested some things and we found some things that work. This is when our business is fun, because we're seeing more business than we've ever seen. We're seeing better income than we've ever seen. The key part during this is to make sure that you're continuing to grow yourself, and that it's not just the business that's growing, but it's ultimately you growing as well. That leads to a lot of times the third phase, which is the burnout phase. The burnout phase comes when your growth happens so quickly and so fast that you don't have time to put in some of the stops where you've got support staff that you need, where you've grown so fast that you can't get to everybody. And this leads to a question, is this even worth it? Is this money that I'm making even worth this? Because now I'm getting burnt out to a point where I don't even enjoy doing this anymore. The key during this phase is to step back a little bit and go to the next phase, which is systemized growth. This is where we go back and we realign ourselves, basically. We put some people in place that are going to help us with our transaction coordination. This is where we're going to hire someone to help us with social media, or hire an assistant that's going to help us be able to do the things that we're best at and that we love doing. This is the time when we move from being a real estate salesperson to being a real estate business. This is the time when ultimately we get back focused. A lot of people don't make it to this. They get burnt out and they just quit. But when you realign and you refocus on what it is that you do best and add people in to help you scale your growth, that's when we lead to the next phase, which is consistent growth. This is where ultimately all businesses want to get. Consistent growth comes because now, instead of making outbound calls, the majority of your business is coming from inbound calls. It's coming from referrals. It's coming from those people that are repeat clients. This is the place we're all looking for. We're not trying to supersize our growth, in other words, and have that hockey stick we did in the early time. We're looking for consistent growth. We're looking for deeper and better relationships. We're looking for systems that will help us continue to grow without adding more time to our plate or more of the things that we don't like doing in the business. This is the time that ultimately everyone's looking at. If you understand these seasons and you apply yourself in a way that you say, oh, I'm in the growth phase right now. I need to make sure that I focus on growing myself. Oh, I'm in the burnout phase. I need to step back a little bit and put some people in place that can help me grow in the right way. Oh, I'm in the maturing growth place. I don't necessarily need to work harder. I need to work smarter, and I need to focus on building those relationships deeper. This is the way that we can set ourselves apart. When I learned this lesson, it helped me weather the storms when I was going through burnout. It helped me understand when I was at a place that I needed to add someone, that it was going to help me continue to have sustained growth. Whatever season you're in, understand where you are in that, and the lesson ultimately that will be learned is that there is another level for you and for your business. The 10th lesson I learned is that hard work yields results. We're all looking for the easy button. Let me tell you what the easy button is. It is on your phone when you're calling people. Ultimately, hard work is going to get you the results you're looking for. There's not a shortcut. There's not a way that you can just buy leads and that they're going to just ultimately be out there and just call you and want to buy the next day. It just ultimately is about adding value consistently, and doing it more than anybody else. You want to double your business? Double the amount of calls that you have every single day where you're adding value to people. You want to double your business? Double the number of mailers that you're sending out to your farm area. You want to double your business? Double the amount of effort you're putting into your business, and ultimately, not only will you double your business, but you're probably going to see 3, 4, 5x of your business. Hard work is undefeated. It absolutely wins every single time. What is it you're doing to make sure that you're not just settling in your business, but you're working hard in a way that you know your business can't help but grow? The 11th lesson, and the one that really helped me have sustained growth over almost 30 years, is this. It's not even about me. It's not even about you. This business ultimately is about the clients, and it's about the people we have to have the opportunity to help. Now, when I focused on them and I began to reestablish what it was that they needed and began to provide more value there and just kind of got myself out of the way, that's when things really began to change. Think about it this way. The ultimate goal that we have is to help people get to the next level in their lives, and ultimately that's going to help us get there. So what is it that you do? Think about how big an opportunity this is. Do you realize the impact that it makes on a family's financial trajectory for the rest of their lives if they own a home versus renting? Helping those first-time home buyers. What does that do? How does that change their life and ultimately their family's life? What is it that you can do to help an investor in a way that helps them have more time freedom, gives them the ability to build the life that they want? What is it that you can do to help that family find their second home at a coastal market like we get to? What does that mean for their family memories? What does it mean for the opportunity for them to recharge and be able to serve the people that they're designed to serve back wherever it is they're coming from? Ultimately, when you realize this business isn't even about you and you begin to focus on helping those other people in a way where you don't have an expectation of what's to come, everything else takes care of itself. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.